What up, y'all? The Knight of Green here with the martial arts analysis and recreation of Ghost of Tsushima's swordplay. I am not alone here in this video, as I have What Would Ninjas Do helping me make this video, so shouts out to him and check out his channel to see the Nimpo stuff that he covers. Anyway, before getting on to that, let me just say thank you for clicking onto this video, and if you like this type of content of video game martial arts being critiqued and recreated in real life, please check out some of my previous works. This video is a continuation of the one that I made previously, which focuses strictly on just remaking the different stance combos from this game. As a result, the following footage that you see right now in the background is an update to that video, which has some attacks that I missed putting in to the last one. So a disclaimer before going on to the video. I predominantly study longsword at this time, though I do study in part kenjustu as a byproduct of hanging around with What Would Ninjas Do for so many years now. I am not an expert by any means, but I am an enthusiast who likes to talk about these types of things and pretend to do it in real life. Anyway, on with the video. First, let's look at the general combat. Personally, looking at all the attacks, they do seem to carry weight behind them as each strike conveys ferocity and power. I also love how when you land a finishing blow on opponents, your weapon doesn't phase or pass through them all the time, and it frequently gets stuck, thus forcing you to take action to dislodge it. It is common to see your character slicing, stabbing through, kicking, tripping, or simply pulling the weapon out of the opponent. Swords are not lightsabers that can just keep cleaving through endless hordes of opponents, so seeing this detail puts a smile on my face. Some of these finishers also have a spinning aspect to them, which in real life would be used to reposition yourself to face off a new opponent. Another thing that this game conveys is the fact that getting hit by a sword may not actually be immediately lethal, as downed opponents may still be alive and try to crawl away. This forces the player to actually perform mercy strikes to finish off the suffering opponents. My only gripe is that the end-suffering blow itself of stabbing someone in the spine is not an end-all be-all maneuver, as you may actually sometimes just paralyze the person and they would just continue to suffer from their previous injuries for a little while longer. But this is a minor gripe in all honesty compared to how I feel about the general presentation of the combat. The perfect parries, dodges, and deflects are also nice to look at, as most of them seem to borrow from actual historical sword plays. For example, in Hema, the rising deflect that you see performed during a perfect parry is a real defensive maneuver called a strike-in, which is then used to move your opponent's blade away from harming you and then setting yourself up for an overhead cut of your own. I also like how during the standoff sequences, your opponents attempt to feint and bait out your attacks to punish you for being too jumpy. The light attacks are pretty solid overall, but they are nothing too fancy to write home about. They are basic diagonal, vertical, and horizontal cuts. However, as said earlier, I like how each attack has their own array of finishing techniques that can be executed. This aspect also gets amplified during the ghost stance sequences, in which you extend your finishers by adding in additional strikes to brutalize and terrorize your victims. There is a lot of them to go over, but What Would Ninjas Do, and myself, just wanted to demonstrate some of the common finishers that we see when we play the game. The stone stance in game is designed to break through sword guards through delivering overwhelming pressure with each strike that is committed. The strikes from the stance reminds me a lot of Hema Wrathguard plays, in which you use the power of your weapon to bat aside the attacks of an assailant and then deliver your own finishing blow. There is a bit of over-dramatic swinging and wind-ups for these attacks, but they're overall pretty solid in game. The water stance is designed to break through shield guards through delivering a flurry of different strikes from different directions. While I like these strikes overall, realistically you wouldn't use them to bash at a shield. Instead, you would use the initial strikes as feints to bait an opponent to block in a direction, while then changing the angle and attacking a spot that they have undefended. Looking at the strikes in the context of feinting, they remind me a lot of the different Messer plays that use the same tactic. The wind stance is designed to break through spear guards through being able to deflect spears out of the way before delivering devastating blows to the upper body. Personally, while I'm not a big fan of spinning around in combat and turning your back to the opponent, This type of motion can be used to push spears offline to make approaching the opponent more feasible. In HEMA, with the use of plated armor, one can do sideways pivots to deflect spears off the armor to help make it so you can attack the spear user easily. The moon stance is designed to break the guards of the heavy brute enemies through delivering powerful kicks. In real life, while I would not advise to kick people out of the blue normally in a sword fight, there is merit to applying kicks, knees, and elbows or other types of strategies when you are locked into a blade bind with your opponent and their sword or weapon is not an immediate threat to prevent you from striking them in such a fashion. Anyway, that is the end of the video. Make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And if you have any additional questions about any specific combat techniques, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and What Will Ninjas Do or myself will get back to you to answer as best as we can. So, yeah, that's the end of this. I'm just going to leave some funny clips that I've recorded, so if you want to stick around and watch them, you can, but otherwise, take care and bye.
こやつは見たことがないが、姉の夫も仕えていたが。
兄君も近くにいらっしゃるはず。探しましょうか。
今はいい。息子らを探すのが先だ。
よし。